Hey guys, welcome back. We have a new moon in Taurus that we're going to be talking about today. It's happening on Sunday, April 27th, 2025, 1931 Universal Time, 3:31 p.m. Eastern Time. And actually, just the days preceding the new moon, we also have Mars and Pluto coming into exact opposition in the signs of Leo and Aquarius Friday and Saturday. So we have another very jam-packed astrology weekend. The aspects playing out in association with our new moon in Taurus this year are big ones. We have big astrology going on. There are a few different aspects happening simultaneously that are, I feel like, telling a quite clear story about what this time is likely to represent in our lives on the world stage. And it's going to have a lot to do with this whole concept of fated endings, things coming to a necessary end in order so there can be some type of new emergence. And I do think in this case, it's almost like forced growth, forced change, some big or powerful impact that is creating just enough movement that things that perhaps have been stuck or fixed or stagnant for a long period of time come unlocked somehow and begin to build momentum in some type of new or unexpected direction. We have a major emphasis on Venus energy right now that is kind of being highlighted a few different ways. I talked about this in my last video. Venus, of course, rules the Taurus cycle. Venus is in a very tight conjunction with the north node of the moon, the destiny point, and Saturn in the very tail end of Pisces. So that's letting us know right there with the ruler of the sign of our cycle that we're moving into right now, in the very, very last, the second to last degree of the entire zodiac, we are at, and with the north node of the moon, the destiny point, we are at a time of fated endings that must transpire in order for the growth that is always associated with the Taurus cycle to actually be able to begin to take place. Now, this kind of same theme is being indicated in the context of this other big aspect that we have going on with the new moon, which is this grand cross and fixed signs. A lot of people may be calling it a T-square. I'm calling it a grand cross because I'm also acknowledging the presence of the black moon right now in the sign of Scorpio, opposite the sun, opposite the moon, while the sun and the moon come into their alignment. Actually, it's happening at 7 degrees, 46 minutes of the sign of Taurus for our new moon and Taurus cycle this year. Of course, a new moon is when the sun and the moon come to the same degree in the sky and whatever sign they are moving through, and it begins a new process of growth that is going to unfold throughout the course of the next 4 weeks, which would be what that any lunar cycle encapsulates. And in the sign of Taurus specifically, this is the sign of the builder. This is the sign of potential becoming manifest. It is the sign of growth. So growth and creation, therefore, obviously, are generally going to be a theme that is embedded in any Taurus lunar cycle. But with this grand cross setting up, the planets involved, and the placement of Venus as well. And another thing that we have going on in the sign of Taurus, which I'll get to in a minute, the Grand Cross is also indicating interference, limitation, frustration, challenge, restriction, something that must be overcome, persevered through, conquered in order for that process of growth associated with the sun and the moon aligning in the sign of Taurus to begin, to take place, to happen. So on one hand, ruler of the sign, last couple degrees of the zodiac with the north node, okay, fated endings, fated release, fated transition, Saturn there as well, burden, duty, responsibility. This is also could have something to do with old belief systems and the rules that we followed in the past that have defined us. We're going to get into so many themes and what could be coming up in our personal lives and on the world stage as we get to the end of the report. But just to preface things, the placement of Venus, her being at that tipping point right now, literally in terms of the entire transit around the whole zodiac, and also this real crosshair, grand cross, square, conflicting, challenge oriented energy that the new moon is really being described as needing to overcome throughout the course of this lunar cycle, right? This is the energy that is present for our like energetic blueprint of what will unfold throughout the next 4 weeks. And so grand crosses, squares generally are an energy that needs to be evolved out of, that needs to be overcome, solved, mastered on some level in order to release ourselves from the issues that oftentimes energy planets in a square can represent and bring into our lives. It can represent, again, like interference, conflict, contention, confrontation, and things just in fixed signs being extremely stagnant, extremely locked in, immovable, stubborn. It also, fixed energy is also extremely stubborn, extremely determined, extremely willful. I've been saying this is also like mountain moving energy right now. There always are a multitude of octaves through which any given set of transits and aspects can manifest. And one of them in this case is definitely this mountain moving energy. There are tremendous feats of labor that are able to be accomplished in the energy right now in certain circumstances and certain conditions. And you may find that you, for some reason, just have some type of like daunting task that needs to be done, or some massive feat, and you are questioning how you're ever going to find the energy or the ability to do it. This is also an energetic setup where it's just there. Like, we do have the endurance, we do have the willpower, we do have the determination, and people are going to be making things happen. Again, like, this in a lot of ways feels like, on one hand, the need for something to be done, but on the other hand, like this massive push, almost in a forceful way, for change, for something to be unlocked, for some type of movement or momentum to take place. And it's so crazy because the symbol, the degree placement, I said, where the sun and the moon are aligning, is 7 degrees and 46 minutes of the sign of Taurus. That, in terms of the Sabian symbol placement, the symbolic placement of the new moon, it would be coming in at 8 degrees of Taurus, because when we're reading the symbolism, we round up a degree. Energy moves in waves. We read the wave of energy that is incoming and manifesting and building. We don't read the wave of energy that has passed and that is like waning out and transitioning. So 7 degrees, anything over 7 degrees, 00 minutes, okay, we would look at 8 degrees in terms of the symbol associated with that specific placement. 8 degrees of Taurus is literally a sleigh without snow, okay? So things could feel real stuck in the mud, or just very stuck generally, or just very fixed, or there could be some type of powerful impact or just significant event or something that makes some colossal impact that occurs around the new moon itself over the course of the next couple weeks that makes that sled move without snow, or that provides the snow necessary for the sled to move, that somehow causes something that has been stuck perhaps for a very long period of time to create the slightest bit of mobility that then snowballs and leads to something that is freeing us somehow to move forward in this new direction. So yet again, this cycle really at its core, we have endings and beginnings going on. This has been an ongoing and recurring theme throughout the past several months. I feel like, you know, the Pisces cycle, the Aries cycle, and now also the Taurus cycle, very, very, very heavy on endings and beginnings. But it seems quite clear, okay? If we are not willing to let go of something, then all progress just seems to be delayed. If we are not willing to go maybe like head to head or toe to toe with something, if we're not willing to face the challenge, rise to the challenge, slay the demon, however it may be, you know, manifesting inside our own mind, inside our relationships, inside various situations, circumstances in the world around us, like there is a restriction in growth and our ability to move forward that's present. And it really may take stepping way far out of our comfort zone, okay? Like, that's another thing that's being indicated here. Taking what could feel like a risk. There is not a lot of certainty, all right? There is not a lot of clarity, with Venus, the ruler of the cycle, being at the last couple of degrees of the sign of Pisces. Now, this is a good like Venus is exalted in Pisces. This is generally a positive Venus placement. It's just with Saturn there also, and with the North Node there, and with her being in the last couple of degrees, like it is really talking about the end of something. It's also talking about our spiritual connection, the divine guidance that is available for us right now, the highly, highly fated nature of the events which are unfolding in our lives, in the world around us, and the need to embrace faith truly in our heart as something that we can really fall back on and rely on. It's like our relationship to a higher power, God, Great Spirit, universe, cosmic consciousness truly is like our best friend in terms of helping to maintain any semblance of like inner peace, balance, harmony as we move through this period of time, because it is just with the Venus new moon, okay, the Taurus new moon, and the square that's present right now, like Mars and Pluto in opposition, that's one of the most like intense, like volatile, like ruthless, borderline, you know, violent, just very powerfully, like we've got these two powerfully dominant masculine forces opposing one another, you know, like in a head-to-head face-off battle, and then it's being squared by the sun and the moon. Now again, I am actually happy that this new moon is occurring on Sunday this weekend instead of earlier last week. I was saying this in my last video as well. I think it would have been kind of a rougher landing in our Taurus season this year if we were a couple of days in the past and the T-square was, or the Grand Cross was even more exact, because Monday and Wednesday of this past week, like it was really on, we were right in that crosshairs of things. Now, as we have moved towards the weekend and we are sitting here on Sunday talking about this new moon, as I said, we're looking at 7 degrees for this alignment. Mars and Pluto are at 3 and 4 degrees of Leo and Aquarius by the time we get to Sunday. We also have the black moon at 3 degrees of the sign of Scorpio. So you see, as the sun entered Taurus and hit the 2, 3, 4 degrees this past week, it was exactly opposite the black moon, exactly square Mars, exactly square Pluto. Then we had the exact Pluto-Mars opposition occur this past Friday into Saturday, like I said, but by the time we get to the new moon on Sunday, Mars has moved 1 degree ahead of Pluto, breaking that exact conjunction which was building all week, and the sun and the moon are a couple of degrees out of that exact square energy, which, you know, does a bit perhaps to diminish a small percentage of the intensity. So I do think it is good that we have the new moon coming together on Sunday as opposed to last week. Now, the other thing that we have going on besides the fixed squares and also the Venus, Saturn, North Node conjunction in the end of Pisces is Uranus has now moved to 26 degrees of the sign of Taurus, putting Uranus also into exact aspect with the nodes, and of course, therefore, aspecting Venus and Saturn as well. And really, though, it's the South Node trine that I'm looking at in Earth signs as a result of Uranus in the sign of Taurus and the South Node, which is karmic release, in the sign of Virgo. That, to me, with Uranus also in Taurus, remember, we're talking about a Taurus lunar cycle right now. That is just another way of really saying a lot of the same things, like Uranus, this is sudden change. Uranus is known as the galactic fixer, the great awakener. Uranus makes the changes for us we haven't been able to make for ourselves. Uranus has a lot to do with bringing forth true and authentic potential in things in a way that helps them actualize, that helps them develop into what they truly could become. It has a lot I always feel like the Uranian Aquarian end, or the Aquarian end of the Uranian energy, has a lot to do with facilitating a process that enables the highest potential of something to come to be. And when it's trining the south node of the moon, the south node representing karmic release and what we need to let go of and what we need to move on from. And trines being essentially like a cosmic facilitation service, this trine playing out would indicate perhaps some type of sudden change or correction that is necessary in order to release something that is blocking true and authentic growth, or true and authentic value, or true and authentic growth in alignment with the true value or the true potential of something. Along those same lines, the Taurus Scorpio axis being highlighted here by way, of course, of the new moon happening in Taurus, and also activating and triggering the black moon in the sign of Scorpio. This could be kind of on an internal level, or maybe even a subconscious level, invoking either growing awareness or a need for us to overcome some things within ourselves that we're realizing have been holding us back. There is a dimension of underworld energy, what's been lingering in the darkness, shadows, toxicity, things that have held power over us but are not necessarily in our best interest or are functioning to block growth in some type of a way, coming to the surface, being highlighted, being illuminated, and being removed. Like, that also could be one of the ways that this energy is functioning. And I've been talking about, and I've been trying to pin down and figure out. I mean, of course, there's always so many different ways and scenarios and just potentials that could manifest, as I've said, along with any planetary aspects at play. But the necessary endings in order for the emergence of these new beginnings, like, that could also very well have to do with some type of detox process or some type of discovery of what has been hidden or contained maybe within our own subconscious mind, or what fears have been controlling us, or what we have been allowing to like persuade us or hold power over us without even realizing it was going on. Like, there could also be something that we are gaining awareness of that is leading to a refusal to participate in something or to continue doing something that is forcing this new direction, or that is forcing this growth, or that is forcing this new awareness. But there's something going on. And it seems like, the spectrum is very broad. We also have Venus ruling the chart at 29 degrees of Pisces in terms of the Sabian symbol placement. That Sabian symbol is light breaking into many colors as it passes through a prism. Like, the whole spectrum of things that perhaps like we don't normally see being made clear, or just being apparent to us in a way that allows us maybe to just view different dimensions that we normally are unaware of for some reason. And perhaps that breakdown in things, or that expansion in awareness, could maybe alter the course of things going forward as well. But there is a broad spectrum with Venus at that degree that is characterizing the nature of events. And I think that we could see this going down a whole bunch of different ways. And also, we are maybe likely to be seeing things from a different perspective or a different angle than generally we are accustomed to as a part of this process too somehow. Okay. So the other thing that I was going to say, we have Uranus, who is in the trine to the south node, moving to 26 degrees of the sign of Taurus. You guys know what degree that is associated with? That is the degree location of the fixed star Algol. If you guys have been following my channel, and there's other astrologers that have been talking about this too, Algol is known as one of the more malefic fixed stars. Now, there's a lot of ways of interpreting a lot of things all the time, but it is associated with the Medusa, the Medusa mythology. It is known as a demon star. It does have to do with decapitation, losing one's head, literally, metaphorically, and with the trine aspect simultaneously happening to the south node of the moon. Again, like, there could be some type of, and this being Uranus, like sudden or shocking decapitation of something that is associated with the endings coming in right now, or transitions that are occurring or ongoing, or shifts in power. Again, this being a demon star slaying, and Mars and Pluto being in opposition as well, that's also slaying demons. There's a major like spiritual battle theme connotations going on here. Also vibes I've been feeling all week, like the devil and the angel on the shoulder, like the spiritual battle within also, and on the greater level, perhaps battle of the ages, some may say, like literally the push and pull and the tug of war on the energetic level between the dominance that has been held in the Pisces age that has gone on for the past 2,000 years, that is breaking down right now, and that is really gripping on and trying to maintain that dominance. However, things that are occurring and taking place right now are not allowing that. I really think not allowing that to continue to proceed. And what we're going to find is whatever we're coming up against, whatever struggles going on, whatever demons we're slaying, whatever battles going on the inside of us, on the outside of us, are going to lead to some type of personal change or personal transformation or collective change or transition that begins to tip things more energetically towards the dominance of the new paradigm coming in, and less energy is going to be held on behalf of the like way that things have been done historically in the past and over this course of this next 2,000 years. Like, we have a new paradigm coming in right now, and a lot of this challenge that's presenting, the nodes are involved. There is a very specific cosmic activation that is taking place at this point in time, and it's not easy. It's probably not fun, but it's very, very purposeful, and it is going to lead to breakthroughs in a new direction that start to anchor the new paradigm coming in, and simultaneously start to release us from the energetic hold of how things have always essentially been. We also have Jupiter, okay, at 21 degrees of Gemini as we are moving through our new moon energy on Sunday. That Sabian symbol is a tumultuous labor demonstration, which is another one that I feel like symbolically is very, very descriptive of just the general vibe that this energy is given. Now, along those same lines, the tipping point between the energetic dominance of the past versus the future, at its core, another, I think, like fundamental expression of this energy is in terms of some type of revolution. Like, it is a fundamentally revolutionary energy, true and actual paradigm shifting breakthroughs, as I was just describing, being induced by whatever the Grand Cross and fixed signs, okay, ruled by Venus with the North Node and Saturn in the very last few degrees of Pisces, and then seconded by Uranus, who, remember, Uranus and Saturn, that's another thing. Uranus and Saturn are the co-rulers of the sign of Aquarius, okay? And they're both involved in this situation. Saturn rules the past, Uranus rules the future. There is... like, it's represented everywhere. And with these two planets also involved, it's almost like the energy is working together to make the necessary cuts, to make the necessary endings, to untether us from certain ways of belief in the sign of Pisces that have defined the way that our paradigm has operated historically, while Uranus in that trine to the South Node, breaking us free karmically from those tethers to the past that had kept us in the karmic loops that perpetuated throughout that period of time. So it's just coming through several different ways, lots of planets involved, all working together, I feel like, ultimately to achieve the same means and the same outcome. But the struggle is very much present here, and it just doesn't feel like Montessori style student-led growth. Like, this feels like harsh discipline. This feels like high expectations, or a big challenge that we are being forced into. This feels more like being, pushed out of the nest and forced to fly, but then in that process, discovering that we hold so much more within us than we thought we did, that we're so much more capable than we thought we were, and that experience unlocking this new version of ourselves that is actually more in alignment with this new energy that's being anchored in, and we're stepping into that, and through that process going through these personal transformations that are going to redirect and change the course of our lives going forward. I think that a lot of people are going to be going through some major, massive, fundamental life changes right now that are going to end up being so much more authentically aligned, purposeful, and fulfilling in terms of their experience of life moving forward from this point than maybe we had experienced in the past so far. This is about a move to what is more authentically meant for us. And again, unlocking our potential, removing blockages to growth, assisting us to get on track with like our true soul path of evolution that we came here to experience. No more lying to ourselves, no more hiding from ourselves, no more trying to mold ourselves or fit ourselves into boxes that have been conditioned to society, where some external force told us what was good for us and what we were supposed to do. This is much more about gaining self-awareness, gaining self-understanding, and through that process learning how to self-actualize and come into our personal power, and as a result of that actually create a much more, again, like fulfilling, successful, abundant, and meaningful life. And as a result of that, as we move through time, a lot of issues that we deal with now collectively are going to clear up as well, because I think a lot of the health issues and the mental health issues and stuff like that are rooted in, for one, unhealed trauma, for two, lack of understanding of the human body and how things really work within us and around us, for three, our own personal talents and abilities and aptitudes and like what we're naturally good at, because a lot of times, going through the school systems and the ways that things have been set up in the past up until this period of time, there hasn't really been a way to accommodate that type of thing or to help kids figure out who they really are and what they're really good at, and more importantly then how to apply that in the greater context to be of service in a way that generates value somehow. And these are the type of things like going forward that I think are going to become more relevant, and I think we're going to see more, as remember, ultimately we're going through a 20-year process of the decentralization of power right now as well. And this new moon, I do think, and this setup and what we've been moving through all week, I think is also going to start like making breakthroughs in terms of loosening the control of the template that like everything has had to function in accordance with. And we're going to see a lot more novelty coming through. A lot of people figuring out like new and different ways to accomplish the same purposes and tasks, but to do it better, to do it more efficient, to do it in a way that produces just better, more successful results. So again, that would go right along with the whole concept here of going through a process that is forcing the relinquishment or the release of how things have always been done, and really demanding that we rise to the challenge and fight for or break through things that have kept us in a place of stagnancy or kept us from being more innovative, being more open to opportunities and possibilities and like different ways of looking at things, and that have essentially just like kept us boxed in, kept us closed off or more closed-minded in the past. So I do think actually solutions are going to be coming through with this. I think innovation is going to be coming through following this. But again, it's some fierce power struggle, a lot of contention, and there like bloody battles, okay? Like there could be things like that are just indicated here. We could see shots to the head, losing one's head or losing one's mind, taking the head off something for sure, with the L-goal emphasis. And again, like all across the multitude broadband spectrum of possibilities, with Venus at the degree talking about literally like the breakdown of light through a spectrum. And we do have this underworld shadow side energy very strong, fears are really going to be being triggered, and that could be the struggle also. Like, it could literally be conquering a fear. That's a big way, and one thing I think a lot of people may be dealing with here is having to conquer some fear that has held them back in the past. And once we make that breakthrough, like everything opening up, because you know, we're not being controlled by whatever that thing was anymore. This whole entire thing is about breaking free from the control of things that have been preventing us from moving forward in the past, taking power away from that which has held power over us in a myriad and multitude of different ways. Now, another interesting angle that we could see develop along this alongside these aspects, or over the next couple weeks as this new moon plays out, with Mars right now in the sign of Leo opposing Pluto in Aquarius and in square to the sun, this could actually put a highlight on kings or royalty, the rich and famous, celebrity class or celebrity culture, maybe some type of powerful exposure. Loss of power, loss of influence, loss of prestige, admiration, loyalty, and status, maybe even wealth in some circumstances. I do think that this energy could also represent like a dying era of celebrity worship. There is probably just going to be a lack of interest, I think, in that type of thing moving forward as this new energy does come in and does become more of a like prominent vibe that is working within all of us. It's going to be replaced by more authentic and relatable personalities, though, that I think are going to be functioning more as teachers rather than idols to be worshipped. Okay, and the influence is going to be much more decentralized also among a lot of people, rather than held within like only a few at the top that are just always cast and everything, you know what I mean? So I think we're going to see a transition along those lines as well. Another thing that we might or see, or that could just randomly be going on during this period of time, there could be some really powerful or intense like games or matches or competitions that are drawing a lot of attention, or like one-on-one combat, or like fighters, or they're just like, because Leo rules, you know, games and challenges and contests and competitions, sports and stuff like that. So there could be like a big face-off going on that gains a lot of attention or influence, or just like eyes on it or something right now during this time as well. So wanted to mention that because that is another just theme that could be relevant with all of this. But back to the general themes that we have going on here, it is coming down to these powerful forces colliding, however that may be, on the field, in the office, within the home or community, or within friends groups, relationships, within our own selves. Could go so many different ways, but the past is ultimately, I do think, going to end up giving way to the future, not without a fight, not without a struggle. And we're definitely just in the thick of things right now. The month of April is a very critical and intense month in our 2025 year. All week may have been really intense. Both the pressure and the tension are turned all the way up right now. So if you are feeling it, if you feel like you're at a breaking point, it literally just is, you know, microcosm, macrocosm. That is the cosmic vibe right now, because a breaking point is actually necessary. It's a breakthrough preferably, and not a breakdown. But even when we're talking about breakdowns, there is, you know, that could also be something that is necessary in order so that some type of movement or momentum or change can be induced that brings the pieces together to get us going in some new direction that will ultimately be better for us somehow. We got a recipe for fated endings, forced emergence, growth and change, personal transformation. That is my rotation of words for today that just keep coming to my mind over and over again. And this broad spectrum of reality along which we are likely to see these same themes on repeat playing out over and over again. There is interference, there is frustration. Ultimately, though, the transformation that all of this is pushing towards. They're not fun times. I think I already said that as well, but they are definitely purposeful times, and there's just a very great significance in all that transpires. As I said earlier, like, this is hitting on a greater cosmic level. you know, there are days, there are months, there are years when what goes on is always a part of our growth. It's always a part of our evolution, but it's not necessarily as impactful as other times. This would be one of those times when, it's like the railroads being redirected, you know what I mean? It's like you've been on a train and we're going in one direction, and we're coming up to a period of time where the lever gets pulled down, and instead of continuing going straight the way that we may have always been going, now all of a sudden forces are changing and we're being veered off in a new direction. So the old paradigm, the old direction, the old course of things, and the belief systems, most specifically with the Piscean energy right now as well. And of course, we are emerging out of the age of Pisces. We literally even have Neptune, the ruler of the sign of Pisces, at right now 0 degrees of Aries. Another indication, see, I didn't even bring that one up, but that is also another big energetic indication of this ending and beginning energy, of this new emerging energy. And the Sabian symbol for the first degree of Aries, 0 degrees of Aries, is literally a woman just risen from the sea. A seal is embracing her. This is about emerging from the water, and we're talking about emerging out of the age of Pisces. Venus at the second to last degree of Pisces, the North Node and the South Node, destiny and karma, so intertwined in all of this. Saturn, the Lord of Karma, with the North Node. This is some fated karmic ending. Uranus, the galactic fixer, who brings the changes for us that we haven't been able to bring for ourselves, that facilitates our path to the future, to potential, to actualization, with the South Node as well, breaking a cosmic facilitation of our ability to release ourselves, you guys, from karmic cycles. And Uranus and the South Node are in earth signs. This is also, there's also big energy here about like total life overhauls in terms of our day-to-day life, our habits, our routines. If you have been looking to like change your schedule, change your lifestyle, change what you're eating, change the way you're taking care of yourself, change like just how you're doing the day-to-day, the way that you're putting energy into your life, and therefore what you're getting out of it, there has never been a better time to totally reestablish your lifestyle and your routines than there is right now. And that's a part of this as well. Remember, I keep talking about personal transformations. Maybe what needs to be removed, what needs to be conquered, what needs to be overcome, so that you can reevaluate and redesign the entire nature of your day-to-day life and the routines that define your health and well-being, because that's also what Virgo is associated with in your life. So excellent time if you've been needing to make some lifestyle adjustments or improvements, breaking addictions too. Never a better time. I've been talking about slaying demons. That very much could translate into, again, taking power back from the things that have held power over us. That is, there's a very addiction, intervention, rehabilitation oriented energy here. If you've been struggling with some type of addiction and you know that you can't, continue going down that road, this is a perfect time. You will definitely be very supported, probably in ways that you wouldn't have thought or imagined, if you take the steps to, free yourself or to slay that demon right now as well, because that is another way that this energy could really manifest. Also, another big dimension of this would be, we're talking about Venus, right? This would be toxic relationships. Any type of toxic or abusive relationships, or unbalanced partnerships or financial dynamics, financial abuse, things that are out of balance or out of reciprocity, draining our energy, draining our resources, taking too much of even like our love, or preventing us from giving ourselves the self-respect or the self-love that we deserve, preventing ourselves from taking care of ourselves in the way that we want. Again, removing blockages to growth. This is the time. Venus, Saturn, North Node, and Pisces. Toxic relationships that have been functioning as a blockage to growth in some type of a way, diminishing our own personal purview and understanding and recognition of our own potential. they gotta go. If you've been looking for an out, if you've been trying to come up with an escape plan from something like this is the time to do that. This is also the time where things could get so bad in those regards, or in that regard, that you no longer can continue to be like dug into that situation. As I was saying earlier, things hitting us so hard that we just realize like that it's kind of now or never, you know what I mean? So all that type of thing as well. Now, if you do have planets that are between 0 and 10 degrees of fixed signs, that would be me, and bet a lot of you out there too, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius, you are all up in this drama. You probably know exactly what I'm talking about. You're probably very well aware of, you know, how this energy is functioning for you in your life right now. Also, if you have planets, important planets or points between angles, you know, ascendant, descendant, midheaven, between 25 or 30 degrees of mutable signs, you guys are getting super, super hit right now by the whole like fate and karma end of things. Very fated events, very karmic situations. You could feel very tested in a lot of ways. That is primarily where that energy is heading. But for all of us, you know, this is what's on the cosmic serving platter, okay? So everybody, like, we all have a chart that has all of these things in it, so nobody is escaping, you know, the way that this energy is unfolding, but we're just going to obviously be perceiving it, experiencing it, and responding to it differently depending on where we are sitting at that table, you know what I mean? If this chart is what is on the table, we are all essentially sitting in a slightly different place around that table. Therefore, we are all interacting with this energy from a slightly different perspective. Therefore, it's obviously going to be having a different impact in or on our lives. But if you've got planets around the epicenters of where these aspects are coming right now, which, as I said, 0 to 10 degrees fixed signs for the big grand cross that's going on right now, and also 25 30 degrees mutable signs for the nodes of the moon and Venus and Saturn. Those are the primary energetic activation points right now. So, you know, again, overall, like, just to kind of talk about now I want to stop talking about all of that and I want to start talking more about the trends and the themes, like the ways that this energy could, the specific subjects, I guess, that could be touched upon by the energy in consideration of the signs that are involved here. But like, just generally, before I get into that, this is probably not going to be, yet again, a great cycle for money or financial markets, economies, growth, value, wealth, currencies. There's a squeeze going on. We've got Venus and Saturn that is putting the pressure on things. We've got Uranus and Taurus trining the south node. That's a drain, that's a flush in the context of the material like resources, assets, value basket, okay? And then we've also got the new moon in Taurus in this square being impinged upon from like every single direction. Taurus has to do with financial markets, economies, value, currency. It is not looking like there's just going to be like an abundance of optimism in terms of things to do with finances right now. It seems like there's a lid on things. Is it going to be that way forever? No. But right now, it looks like there could be some big corrections going on. This could also be a lot of fear with the black moon being so activated. There could be a lot of fear that is suppressing markets right now. And again, as I was saying, like, people are going to be looking to get rid of things. This is about sell-offs with Venus in the end of Pisces. This is about downsizing, minimalizing, conserving. Okay, like, this is not like being more frugal. Like, this is not an abundance of like, this is not, you know, overflow and abundance and excess. Okay, this is conserving and minimalizing and simplifying things, divesting, decoupling, uncommitting. So I don't know, you guys, we could be seeing some of that, but it's just not looking super growth oriented in terms of the financial side of things. And another thing that I've been saying, you know, we have very little earth energy going on right now. Even though we have a Taurus new moon coming through, it is still, I feel like, providing some very shaky foundations. The only other planet we have in the sign of Taurus right now is Uranus. That is upsetting the comfort zones, okay? That is disturbing the peace. That is not providing a secure foundation. And then trine the South Node in Virgo, that's the only other earth energy we have. And again, the South Node, this is the drain. This is the release. This is what is being let out. And so the only earth energy that we really have going on right now is honestly all quite sketchy. To me, that is indicating, especially during a Taurus lunar cycle, that is really all about stability. This is all about foundation. It's all about planting seeds. It is all about like growth and productivity and abundance. It's just, again, like not the same level of stability that we might generally, and comfort that we might generally expect from an emphasized Taurian energy. And I mean, Taurus moon, right? The moon loves to be in the sign of Taurus. This is all about comfort. It's all about inner peace. It's all about that sense of like inner security. But it probably just with this dynamic energetic setup going on out there right now is not providing that to the degree that it normally might. Okay, maybe sudden losses, shaky foundations again, like, or just shakeups generally in the status quo and things that we thought were stable and reliable. This could be breaking contracts, breaking commitments. So changes to social dynamics could be going on in correspondence with all of this as well. And it could be therefore just creating a bit of a lack of inner peace and you know, feeling real grounded in terms of what the heck is going on as we move through this new moon energy and into next week. Now, other themes present because of the sign placement of planets in this Grand Cross and just really generally what we've got going on out there. I would not be surprised if we saw any or all of these type of things manifest, starting out with things to do with health and healing, maybe drugs and pharmaceuticals because of the Piscean influence, also oil or things to do with water or ships, oceans, underwater stuff. There could also be some real regenerative efforts going on in some capacity right now because of the Pluto influence here. Breakdowns in authority, okay? Corruption and abuses of power being exposed. We could see some extreme scandals going on or coming out right now, shocking scandals. Breakthroughs in technology and innovation also, as I was saying earlier, we could literally see with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, we could see some type of secret technologies that are being revealed or released somehow that have been long held or long repressed that start to become a thing or a theme moving through this period of time. Also because, of course, of the Taurus influence, things to do with food, agriculture, food production, land, property, assets, projects, partnerships, alliances, allegiances. And then with the Scorpio influence, as I mentioned earlier, addiction, intervention, rehabilitation, and then things along the lines of demolition or renovation, taking things down so that things can be maybe rebuilt. And we've got fears that are likely to be triggered in this energy as well that could pertain to any of these things. But because that black moon is being so triggered by both the sun and the moon being in the oppositional sign of Taurus for our new moon in Taurus, this could bring up obsessions, okay? The dark side of things and people and situations being exposed, the hidden nature of things being exposed, issues or things to do with the subconscious mind and maybe like subconscious programming as well. And also authenticity, authentic worth, authentic value, and the Mars-Pluto dynamic also. Reclaiming personal power, regaining personal autonomy, regaining personal authority over our lives, the power struggles to achieve that, confrontations, contention, brutal, bloody battles could be going on out there for dominance and taking power back from what has once held power over us. Check, check, check. All that stuff Wouldn't be surprised to see it. Also, on the other side of things, I have to talk about now for a second the lower octave nature of this energy: giving up, giving in, surrender, escapism, avoidance, neglect, abandonment, abuse, and toxicity, things that I have mentioned earlier. People could be deciding that they're just going to throw in the towel and quit the game in this energy because of the immense amount of pressure that they're under. This is, as I've been saying in like all my videos over this past couple of weeks, it is red flag energy for suicides and drug overdoses, okay? Attempts to avoid and escape from the pressures of the reality that just seems so overwhelming, because they are. It's legitimate. But, you know, that's obviously not the way to handle the energy. A lot of people are going to be looking for it now and handling it that way, so something to be mindful of. But I do think many more are going to be rising to the challenge, leveling up, and gaining the awareness that is necessary, that goes along with that, that really, again, like changes the course and redirects the life path moving forward. Things could be falling apart, but there is this new foundation emerging, and we are going to find, as I said earlier, that where it takes us and where we are going next, even if we had to be put on the track kicking and screaming, you know what I mean, is actually much more purposeful and fulfilling than and self-empowering also than where we have been in the past and the road that we used to be walking on, and maybe even the people that were walking on it with us. I think there's also like a great realignment in terms of relationship dynamics. As I said earlier, I think I said changing social dynamics are a major part of this as well. Things that are more in alignment with one another, that are a better resonance and a better fit to support growth, are coming together. Again, relationships that are blocking the necessary cosmic path and trajectory of growth right now, for whatever reason, in terms of whatever party involved, they can't continue to persist, because things that are functioning as a blockage to growth right now, again, whether it's the way that we're taking care of ourselves, what we're eating, our day-to-day lifestyle, or the relationships that we're engaged in, or the jobs that we have, or where we're living, there's just so many different possibilities. But anything essentially that is keeping us stuck right now, from maybe not where we are trying to get to, but from where universe is trying to get us to right now, are just not going to be able to persist probably through this period of time. The more we try to cling to them, the more difficult it's going to be. The more that we kind of say, okay, you know, let it go, accept the fact that we might not have confidence in the path ahead right now, but be willing to walk the path that seems to be opening itself up to us anyways, with faith in our heart. Remember, Venus ruling the cycle with the North Node in the sign of Pisces. Our best friend here really is like the way that we are able to relate to a higher power, God, Great Spirit, universe, cosmic consciousness, however we perceive our connection to that greater cosmic consciousness or to a higher power. That is the hand that we need to hold, I think, moving through this period of time. And what's another thing, if you guys have been following my channel, this is another reoccurring theme that I've been talking about now for a couple of months, ever since the North Node entered the sign of Pisces. This is a 1.5-year process of spiritual growth, okay? So it would be very fitting and make very good sense that we would be literally being, you know, it would be an energetic indication coming through in the language of the cosmos that our best friend as we move through this period of time is our relationship to our faith in a higher power, and our trust that things are moving us in a positive direction, even if the path to get there is one that requires us to be, to an extent, forged in the fire. Like, that's also what this is. It's also, I've been saying this, you know, this past couple of weeks, this energy is the same concept of the pressure that is applied to the minerals deep within the earth that causes them to become diamonds. Okay, this is refining us, this is polishing us, this is making us better, because universe is requiring this cosmic upgrade right now. And I think that that's just what's going on out there. So that's what I have to say today, you guys. Those are my thoughts on the new moon in Taurus as it's lining itself up for us this weekend. I'm going to get us a synchronicity card now, one final piece of guidance or advice, asking God, Spirit, Universe, what do we need to know? What should we keep in mind? Should we tell ourselves what would be beneficial for us to realize as we move through this energy, and I've been talking about, you know, the need to let go, the need to release ourselves from something, the need to move on, karmic release. And look at the card that we've got coming out. It's talking about forgiveness. An inability to forgive situations, honestly, on an energetic level, is one of the main like energetic ties that keeps us in karmic loops and karmic cycles. So it is no surprise that this is the card that we would have coming out today. And it's also directly indicating the fears that could be surfacing in association with this time as well. Be not afraid for the pestilence that walketh in darkness. Black moon, Pluto, been talking about this all week. Psalms 91. You are in the dark when you indulge in depression, feeling sorry for yourself, anger, or ill will. When you condemn yourself or others, these are pestilences of the darkness. Anger towards others reflects your emotionally charged state. You violate the law of harmony and it will bring you trouble. Forgive yourself and others and hail God in your midst to heal your anger. Pray, thank you, God, for removing my anger. Like Mars and Pluto in opposition square the new moon. I'm telling you, the frustration, the interference, the issues, the anger, and like I also said, you know, like willing to maybe like take it all away, take it all the way, or take it all away. I don't know, but we've got some advice coming through that is urging us to apply and practice forgiveness in the context of whatever it is that we could find ourselves up against as we move through the weekend and this new moon energy as well. So that's what I have to say, you guys. Message from the stars, message from the Synchronicity card. Hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think that they would also enjoy this type of astrology content. Leave me comments. I'm so grateful for your presence on my channel. I really appreciate it when you guys let me know what's going on with you out there. If you are having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about in these videos, please drop a comment. Let me know in my comment section below. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I do have a Facebook group where I post images of those boards. You can see the whole image if you click that link in my description box below. And come back with me, you guys. Come back with me on Monday. We are getting into it. We are closing out this month of April. We will have made it through that big square with Mars and Pluto opposition. And also, because remember, we've had this energy going on at the same time. That means it's going to be separating and waiting out at the same time. And that's what we're going to be getting into next week. We've got to talk about it, okay? And maybe we're gonna be feeling like we are heading more towards some of these new beginnings. Maybe by that point in time, there will have been some momentum that has been created somehow, and I will be back to talk all about it. So you don't want to miss it, you guys. I will see you then. Have a beautiful weekend. Happy new moon in Taurus. And until next time, bye guys.